Can people really work together without communicating? Can they be a team without communication? So communication really is the bedrock of any kind of relationship. Without it really, there cannot be any family. The family is a team. There cannot be any church because you've got to communicate as saints. All right. We are going to pray and then we'll proceed. Lord, we ask you to come here, Lord, and speak to your people. Use these clay vessels, Lord, because of your loving kindness. In Jesus Christ we pray, amen.
Amen. Having said that, in health sector, we cannot have a patient without a caretaker. So it's a team.
Yeah.
We go to the clinic, there's someone who will see that patient, there's someone who's going to give that patient medications, there's someone who is going to take blood, there's someone who's going to take x-ray, the list is long.
Yeah.
And there should be synergy. There should be continuous, clear communication from point A to the last point.
We are going to define communication. One definition says, the imparting or exchanging of information by speaking, writing, or using some other medium. I like the second one. A process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior. Okay? That is what communication is. Good communication practices are at the heart of every successful team. If you see people being very successful in whatever they do, or a church being very spiritual, you should know that there is good communication in that church. Between the pastor and the church members, between church members themselves, between that church and the conference, communication must flow freely without any hindrances. Without successful internal communication, institutional processes slow down or grind to a halt, and clients are not served properly. When processes break down, communication issues are at the root of the problem for managers, employees, and church members alike. So communication, brothers and sisters, is key, is paramount. Let's look at types of communication. Communication can be verbal. You see, verbal, we are talking about spoken words, use of language, sign language. I taught communication at the University of Botswana. And whenever I ask the students if sign language was verbal language or not, they will say, no, sign language is not verbal language. They say sign language, they are using signs, so it's not verbal language. Whereas sign language is verbal language. You see, they are using verbs. It's a language. Like Shona, like Ndebele, like Setswana, is a language. Thank you. Okay? And then we have a non-verbal communication. The way we stand. Just the way you stand, people can get a lot. They can know whether you are a confident person or not. You see? Facial expressions. Right now, I can see that the majority of you are really happy. You see, you are looking forward, you are with expectation to what you want to hear. You see, if someone is not well, when they come into the room, you will just see from their facial expression that there must be something wrong today. Silence. Do you know that silence is communication? Yes. You see, when people are just silent, it speaks very loudly. Silence. You see.
And I think Sis Busi has been talking, re-emphasizing that when it comes to grief process, whereby you can, when there's death and it is still new, sometimes you just go there and stay there and just pray in your heart and say nothing. It talks volumes.
What you are saying through that silence is that I am with you. I am grieving with you. You just sit there silently. Eye contact. Okay? Eye contact is very, very important. If someone cannot keep eye contact with you, what does that tell you? Perhaps they are not comfortable with you. That's why they cannot keep eye contact with you. If someone has a crush on you, sometimes they don't want to keep eye contact with you, lest they give themselves away. Okay. Gestures, smiling, nodding, leaning forward. You know, some of us are actually leaning forward because it shows interest. That's communication. Do you know that you are communicating a lot to us here? You are not saying anything. You are communicating with us by your smiles. By your eye contact. All these things, they give us a lot of feedback. You see, we are not the only people who are communicating here. You are also communicating with us. You know, if someone is asleep, what does that tell you? They are not interested.
Oh, you are boring.
Yes. You know, you are bored. You are boring people. So when people sleep when you are speaking, hey, it really discourages. Am I boring? Why are they sleeping? Okay? Dress. Brothers and sisters, dress is a great means of communication. Unfortunately, sometimes we are not aware of it. We just dress anyhow. Dress tells you who you are.
Tells people.
You see? It tells people who you are. If you are a believer who understands that you are a child of God, can you dress anyhow? No. You know, in the world, not in the church, there is what we call enhancing. Enhancing. Enhancing, they leave the breast here. They are enhancing. The breast is out. Almost out. You can see. That's a fashion. But sometimes, unfortunately, you find that in the church. Do you know that breasts are sexual organs? And then if you are half exposing them, what are you saying?
I'm ready for bed.
So I am very happy here. I don't see anything like that in this. I'm not seeing anything like that. You see, you wonder, this breast, this person, does she want to go about suckling everyone? So we need to cover as Christians, brothers and sisters. Yes.
And that's why breasts are called private parts. So we should not make them public parts.
Yes. Now, in Botswana, we have, it used to be Haboroni San, now it is called Avan. When you pass next to that hotel around 7 o'clock, you will see ladies, they're standing with very short dresses like that. You see? You don't have, when you see them, what does it tell you? I don't have to tell you. What is it telling you? Huh?
Prostitute.
Is a prostitute. They don't have to tell you. They are communicating. They put, they wear their dress for a purpose, to communicate to people that I'm available. Now, if church members come to church like that, what does it tell us?
They're available.
So some people do it very innocently. That one I know. There are people who will wear inappropriate dressing, not because they have any intentions, but because of naivety. They are naive. You see? Naive, that means they don't understand. Huh? So they were like that without knowing. But if you are a communication student, you would be very careful the way you dress. Communication, again, either we have paralinguistics. Paralinguistics, these are things that accompany language. Para, that means they are parallel to language. You see? They accompany language like tone, like stress. You see? If I look at her and say, I love you. Huh? It doesn't mean anything. I love you. The tone is not the right tone. She will pick it immediately that, no, this man does not love me. Because my tone is saying something opposite to the words. So your tone and the words, they must be in synergy. They must be congruent. So what you stress, the words you stress also, it means that the aspects or the parts you stress, they are the important parts. That's why you are stressing them. Communication can be structured, can be unstructured. You see? Of course, non-verbal communication is unstructured. Let me just say something about non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication needs to be, you need to confirm. If a lady smiles at you, you may read that this lady loves me or something. I get it. But don't just assume. You should confirm. She must say it verbally. Otherwise, if you start doing things, you will be accused of rape. So you need to confirm. Don't just get it from the non-verbals alone. No. These days, you will be in trouble. Okay? Okay. So communication can be structured and unstructured. Like non-verbal communication is unstructured. Communication can be formal or informal. Right now, our communication here is very formal. Akir. And then when we are just conversing on the road or with our friends, that can be informal communication. Communication is an art, brothers and sisters, a skill that should be developed. We need to develop it. You see, it's not just a matter of knowing a language.
Talking about formal and informal communication, in our traveling around Southern Africa, we have realized that Seventh Adventists, they are not really doing what God is expecting from us. Because as Seventh Adventists, we are pace setters. People should benchmark with us. Amen. The way we run our families, our institutions, and everything should show. Yeah. I just want to see if we have the same challenge in Zimbabwe. Let me see. I'm not doing it because I'm married. I'm just doing it because I want to save time. Let me see the head of the wives in this hall. Those who are married, who have, may you raise up your hands. The heads, not the wives, the heads. Raise up your hands high. The husbands, raise up your hands high. Thank you very much. One question for you. When did you last have your formal meeting with your family? The formal one where there's an agenda, we have sat down, and we are even minuting the resolutions that are taken in that meeting. There's one at the back. At least there's one at the back. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. No, we have to take him at his word. He did it
11 years ago.
days or 11 days ago.
Oh, 11 days ago.
Because really, hello? We have to start at home to do things right. Let me check the finance managers of the families. I'm a family coach. Let me see the wives in this house, because you are a financial manager or a resource manager. Let me see your hands. Raise up your hands. Don't be shy. Thank you. When did you last be called by your CEO, your husband, to submit your financial report so that you bring the receipts? Because the spirit of prophecy says each and every tab should be accounted for. When was that? When did you do that? We have one. Praise God. We have one. When was that, my dear? Amen. Amen. Let's do this. Amen. You can see that is a challenge, right?
Yeah.
So we need a seminar on that one. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Good communication is the key to effective teamwork. If there's no good communication, the teamwork will not be effective. Communication affects teamwork in positive and negative ways. If communication is not good, then teamwork will suffer. The quantity and quality of communication within team and from leadership affects teamwork. If you are in a church institutions like a school, and the headmaster does not communicate with the teachers frequently, and the teachers do not communicate their challenges to the headmaster, do you think that school will run smoothly? It won't. See, so teamwork is at the center of the way a school runs, whether it runs smoothly or not smoothly. The more collaboration that your projects require, the more assertive and intentional your communication should be. Yes. For there to be efficient teamwork, communication has to be at its best. A team is able to work well together through good communication. Now, if one member of your team, they are not going to make it to the meeting, and they don't communicate, they don't say, I will not make it to the meeting today, how is that going to affect the team? They are late, they don't say anything. They arrive late, they just keep quiet as if everything is okay. Do you think relationships will be good? Okay?
There are a lot of inconveniences in our churches. The pastor or the head elder, they call for church board,
Yeah.
and the time is fixed, it's announced 2 weeks in advance, or it's a regular meeting. People don't send any apology. You go there, sacrifice your time, people are not turning up. 3 or 2, not from quorum, you go back.
Hey.
It's a waste of God's time. So we need to be ethical and professional in our dealings.
Yeah. That's why I married her. You know, she makes things so clear. God gives you. She's the Aaron to me. Okay. Communication between team members. If communication between members is poor, there is likely to be unnecessary tension and anxiety. You see, where are they? What are you supposed to do? You are not. Nothing is being communicated as to exactly what it is you're going to do as a team. Communication is lacking, so there's going to be a lot of anxiety. This is one of the most important reasons why institutions should be encouraged. By institutions here, we mean the church, church schools, clinic, and hospitals. You see, just institutions. Should encourage teams to clearly communicate with one another when working together. In the presence of an effective communication network, team members feel important and confident that their opinion counts. You see, they can freely, if they have suggestions, they make suggestions freely, and those suggestions will be discussed, adopted. If they are not adopted, good reasons will be given for it. And people will feel that they are part of the institutions. They will not feel that they are just passengers. In the long run, the team is able to utilize all its resources to complete tasks and projects. Does communication matter in teams? The obvious answer is yes. Communication is a key aspect to teamwork. No way you can have a team without communication. Communication is a means of connecting people. If you are working together, you must be closely connected. You see, this team here you see in front of you is really very connected. And we are very happy because of that connection. Should there be any disconnection, we will be very miserable. Okay? Without effective communication, there can be no relationship among teammates. You see, communication is the lifeblood of teamwork. Can you survive without blood?
No.
Can teams survive without communication?
No.
No. So, brothers and sisters, let us make sure that we communicate. Don't say, I will tell them when I get there. You are late. You don't send it just to say, I will be late because I'm held up here. You just keep quiet. People are anxious. They are not even starting the meeting because they want you to be there also. But if you have sent something, they will start the meeting knowing that you are held up by something. It is the bedrock of any relationship. Family, workplace, neighborhood, church mates, church boards, virtual teams, institutional boards, WhatsApp groups. That is where these teams, they survive on communication. In church boards, If you don't communicate, that church body will go no, it will achieve nothing. Let's look at the family team today. I want you to observe that picture. I hope it is clear, you can see. Okay? This is what happens. You can see everyone is in their gadgets. They are together, but they are not together. They are communicating with people outside, but amongst themselves, there's no communication. Now there's this poor lady there who is not very technological. So she is left alone, bored alone. Everyone else is in their gadgets, and she is there left out. There's no inclusivity here. She's not being included. Okay. Teams that communicate effectively complete projects quicker than those that don't. They also are more accurate in their work than others. Effective communication also allows team members to understand their roles and the roles everyone else on the team. So because everything is communicated, who is doing what, when, and how, everything is communicated. So people are clear, they know what it is they have to do, and they do it because they understand their expectations. Now, communication breakdown. This is an exam. This student is writing an exam. So the paper says, study the table below before answering the following questions. So the point is that communication breakdown can be very serious. Communication breakdown can be very, very serious. Yeah. As you can see here. This student is going to flunk. Now, this is how dishonesty begins.
Communication.
You know, when Mrs. Mashiri who was talking about failing? It was Tobaiwa?
Yeah,
Tobaiwa. Was talking about
infant stimulation.
Infant stimulation. Look at what is happening here. Where's the other one? Okay. So here, this one is being dishonest. Now the poor kid is looking at its milk. This supposed take carer is consuming the milk.
And this is going to create emotional baggage for this little one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now look at this.
The impact of social media.
Yeah. Let's look at the impact of social media. Okay? These people here in this picture,
attention please.
Those who are holding their gadgets, they are together but not together. Each one is, you can say they are smiling to each other. They are not smiling to each other. They are smiling to other people elsewhere, far away, perhaps even overseas. You see? Look at what is happening here. So this infant here will lack stimulation, Brother Tobaiwa. You see? And this one here, they will lack stimulation. So when we employ maids, we should employ those that fear the Lord. Okay? Okay? Communicate effectively with your team. You can see here that all these people are working together very well. They are happy. Everyone is happy to work in this team. They are all smiles. Teammates must develop trust since it is not automatic. As you work together, you become transparent, you start to develop trust. And as the trust develops, now you start to work well together and the team becomes more productive. Accordingly, members must communicate more openly than they normally would in everyday life, because they have a common goal to achieve. There must be honesty on all ends of the team, since withholding truth could damage team's integrity. You see, you should not withhold truth. You see, you must trust each other. Don't say they will steal my information. Team members should always share information and feelings between each other. This allows for total trust between the team members. Effective communication in teams, it should be factual, don't exaggerate, should be honest, timely. Do it at the right time. Precise, concise, comprehensive. You see, you must have an objective. It must be goal-oriented. It must be collaborative. It must be edifying, as Ephesians chapter 4 says. It must be easily understood by the receiver. It must be interactive. It must be two-way, not one-way. It must be successful, congruent. Verbal and non-verbal cues must be congruent. You see? So if I say something, I have not, say I had lost, perhaps left my phone, okay? And I come and say, I missed I left my phone here. Has anyone seen it? And then this particular person, they are saying no, but they cannot keep eye contact with me. What does that mean? They must, likely they stole it. Okay, so if they say, I did not steal it, and they are looking at me, and I look at the face, there's no guilt, there's nothing, then I know. Okay? It must be captivating, it must be reliable, it must be compliant with expected standards. Like our church bulletins must be up to standard. Our memos that we write when we are in the schools, you write memos to your teachers, they must meet expected standards. It also includes feedback. Feedback is very important. See? Now, if you were all asleep, I would have stopped speaking, because I've seen that what I'm saying is useless. That's why people have all gone to sleep. I've put people to sleep. Okay, communication, there are barriers to communication in institutions. That means in churches, in schools, and in health institutions. Communication barriers are obstacles in the institutions that prevent the exchange of ideas and thoughts. Communication barriers exist in many forms, such as physical barriers. Okay? If someone has gone to, say, to Gweru, the headmaster has gone to Gweru and you want to communicate with them, and there's no phone or there's no network, there is a barrier to communication. We are not going to communicate with that headmaster. And then there is language. You see, if I spoke in Kalanga here, you will not hear, you will not understand what I'm saying. You see, although Kalanga is a bit like Shona. Okay? And then organizational. If the lines of communication, lines of reporting are not very clear in an organization, then it's a barrier to communication. Because you don't know who to report to, what to say to who, then it becomes a problem. So the communication lines, you see, the reporting lines must be very clear. Cultural, okay? In our culture, Mobutswana, we have Kalanga, we have Tswana. Now, she brought her nephew to come and help us with the children when we were young. So we're in the Kalanga area like Tutume. So this little girl, when she was in the village, she greets, when people greeted her, the elder, she would say, yes, I'm okay. How are you? And how about you? Okay? In the Kalanga area, a little person, a little child cannot ask an elderly person how they are. You know, you don't do that. But in the South, they do that. So when she was greeting people in Tutume, she would then ask the elderly people, how are you? And they would be, how can this one ask me how I am when I'm elder? So this was a cultural barrier to communication. Okay? They thought she was rude. Status, you know, status can be a barrier. When there's a very big person, you are afraid to communicate with them. You have got to communicate with that person through someone. Okay? Gender barriers, you know, sometimes it's not easy to communicate with the people of the other gender. The presence of these barriers can lead to tension, poor employees, poor performance, task performance, and overall unmotivated employees and church members.
While we are still there talking about the barriers, what do we get from the young people in the Adventist circle? There are a lot of things that are happening to them. But I think we have created a culture that we don't believe what they're telling us. So they have decided to keep things for themselves because there's no one who is believing what they're saying. And that is not healthy, you know, because we expect our young people to be bold enough or to be courageous enough to come to us and share with us the challenges that they go through in the church. So we need to look into that.
Conclusion? It is critical to cultivate effective communication in institutions to maintain a productive and efficient workforce where all employees and team members feel respected and comfortable. To promote effective workforce communication, the most common barriers should be addressed. If we lack communication skills, yes, we need to be trained in that. But James chapter 1, verse 5, what does it say? If we lack communication, if we lack wisdom, let us ask to God who gives liberally. You see? And also, if you go to Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1 and 2, it will tell you that a soft answer, you know. And where do you get a soft answer? When you are connected to Jesus Christ. May the Lord bless us all.
Amen.